Have you ever stood in front of a shelf full of choices and ended up picking nothing at all? You're not alone. Today we're diving into the fascinating and often frustrating phenomenon of choice overload and why too many options can actually freeze our ability to decide. Imagine walking into an ice cream shop with over 50 flavors. At first you're excited. Chocolate chip, pistachio, rocky road, cookie dough, lavender honey. But after several minutes, you start feeling stressed. Which one will you enjoy most? What if you choose poorly? Maybe you should just skip it altogether. Welcome to the paradox of choice, a psychological phenomenon where an abundance of options leads not to happiness, but to anxiety, indecision, and regret. Today we'll explore the psychological roots of choice overload, the groundbreaking studies that revealed its effects, key theories behind it, and even some practical tips to overcome it. Plus, we'll connect it all with the brilliant insights from The Paradox of Choice by psychologist Barry Schwartz, a must-read if you've ever felt overwhelmed by a world of endless options. 1. What is choice overload? Choice overload, or overchoice, happens when people are faced with too many alternatives, causing difficulty in making a decision. Instead of feeling empowered, they experience decision fatigue, anxiety, self-doubt, and even avoidance. Ironically, more freedom, more choices, doesn't always mean more happiness. 2. The psychology behind it. Several psychological mechanisms explain why choice overload happens. Cognitive load. Our brains can only process a limited amount of information at once. When bombarded with too many choices, we exceed that cognitive limit, leading to confusion and frustration. Anticipated regret. The more choices there are, the more we fear making the wrong decision. We imagine the alternatives we didn't pick and regret what could have been. Opportunity costs. When options multiply, so do the perceived costs of not choosing the best one. We start to feel that every choice we make excludes 100 others, and that's stressful. Maximizing versus satisficing. Barry Schwartz introduced two decision-making styles. Maximizers strive to make the best possible choice, examining every option carefully, while satisficers are content with a good enough choice. Maximizers suffer far more from choice overload, feeling anxious that something better is always out there. 3. The famous jam study. One of the most cited studies on choice overload was conducted by psychologists Sheena Iyengar and Mark Lepper. In a gourmet market, they set up a tasting booth with samples of jam. Sometimes there were 6 flavors, sometimes 24. The findings were striking. While the booth with 24 jams attracted more customers, people were 10 times more likely to actually make a purchase when only 6 jams were offered. Too many options made consumers interested but paralyzed their ability to decide. When choices were limited, decisions became easier, and satisfaction increased. 4. Why too much choice? Hurts. According to research, too much choice leads to analysis paralysis. You overthink and postpone the decision. Reduced satisfaction. Even after deciding, you may feel less happy, thinking about the options you left behind. Fear of missing out. FOMO. An abundance of choices fuels a sense of constant dissatisfaction. What if a better option was just around the corner? Emotional drain. Decision fatigue drains mental energy, making later decisions even harder. Over time, this can even contribute to mental health issues like anxiety and depression. In a society that glorifies freedom of choice, we often overlook the psychological toll it can take. 5. The paradox of choice. Barry Schwartz's key insights. In his powerful book, The Paradox of Choice, Barry Schwartz argues that eliminating consumer choices can greatly reduce anxiety for shoppers. He identifies that beyond a certain point, more choice leads to less happiness, not more. Schwartz explains that while having some choice is beneficial, an overabundance creates unrealistic expectations. We believe that with so many options, perfection is possible, when inevitably it's not. When reality fails to meet these sky-high expectations, dissatisfaction follows, even if the choice was objectively good. He also explains that in modern society, whether it's shopping, career paths, dating apps, or even what movie to watch, we are increasingly burdened with the expectation of making the perfect decision in every aspect of life. 6. How to overcome choice overload. Limit your options. Narrow your choices to a manageable few. For example, if you're shopping for shoes, pre-select just 3 brands to compare. Set satisficing goals. Instead of hunting endlessly for the perfect option, aim for one that meets your main criteria. Good enough is often truly good enough. Establish clear priorities. Know what's important before browsing. A clear set of priorities helps filter out irrelevant choices. Impose time limits. Give yourself a deadline to decide, to avoid endless second-guessing. Practice gratitude for your decision. Once you've made a choice, focus on what's good about it instead of dwelling on alternatives. Recognize decision fatigue. If you're feeling overwhelmed, take a break. Big decisions are harder when you're mentally tired. In essence, mastering the art of decision-making in today's world isn't about maximizing freedom. It's about intelligently managing it. Choice is beautiful. It represents freedom, autonomy, and possibility. But too much choice can turn into a hidden prison, chaining us to indecision, anxiety, and dissatisfaction. By understanding the psychology behind choice overload, we empower ourselves to make better, happier, and more fulfilling decisions. As Barry Schwartz brilliantly put it in The Paradox of Choice, learning to accept good enough will simplify decision-making and increase satisfaction. If you found this video helpful and want to learn how to make smarter, more joyful choices in life, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, and tap the notification bell so you don't miss our future videos. And in the comments, tell me, have you ever faced choice overload? What's the most overwhelming decision you ever had to make? I'd love to hear your stories. Stay decisive, stay strong, and remember, sometimes less truly is more.